Happy Thanksgiving and welcome to the Carriker Chronicles, the People Show. Check the polls of Husker Nation, brought to you by DPS Concrete Construction. Check them out at dpsconstruction.net. Also, carrikerchronicles.com. It's where all your Husker sports hopes and dreams will come true. And you can get shirts like this that have holes in them. I've worn this shirt every Iowa prediction show for 10 years. Think it's time I get a new shirt, but we're kind of attached. I was looking for my Iowa Has Bad Corn shirt, but in the move, I don't know where it is. So here, I'm on a mission to find that thing. And if Nebraska wins on Friday, bam, gut reaction shirt. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, if you're like me and you believe a major key to Nebraska beating Iowa is stopping the run, and if the Huskers can do that, they'll beat the Hawkeyes and smash the like button. As always, if you haven't done so yet, make sure you subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'm just going to tell you, once the game's over versus Iowa on Friday, we're going to have a Carriker Chronicles on Sunday morning, and then we might have it on Monday or Wednesday. The month of December is going to be bananas with bowl games, with announcements, with coaching announcements, possible changes, transfer portal, recruiting. Just make sure you subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of the content we're putting out here on the Carriker Chronicles. All right, today's show, here's what you're going to get. Stats, as always, 3 keys to the good guys beating the other guys, and 5 special guests are going to join me at the end of the show, and we will all, at that point in time, give our prediction for Nebraska versus Iowa. Here we go. The past 6 meetings between Nebraska and Iowa have all been decided by 6 or fewer points, including 3 games by 3 points. The total margin in the past 6 games is 29 points. Also, Friday's game will be the 35th consecutive season Nebraska has played on black Friday, including the past 14 years against Iowa. The Huskers own a 20-14 record since 1990 in Black Friday games. Nebraska's 44-point scoring effort against Wisconsin was the highest point total in 2 seasons under Coach Matt Rule. It was also the most points scored by the Huskers since a 56-7 win over Northwestern in 2021, a span of 41 games. Now, Nebraska versus Iowa, the series. Nebraska owns a 30-21, 3 ties edge over the other guys. The Hawkeyes own a 9-4 edge over the good guys since Nebraska joined the Big Ten Conference. Iowa is the only opponent Nebraska has met in all 14 seasons as a member of the Big Ten Conference, and the Hawkeyes are the only opponent the Huskers face on an annual basis in the new 18-team conference. The road team in the series has won, check this out, the past 3 matchups and 9 of the past 12 meetings. Overall bodes well for the good guys, ladies and gentlemen, including Nebraska's 24-17 win at Kinnick Stadium in 2022. Now, here are some of the stats that stood out. The number 1 rushing offense in the Big Ten Conference belongs to Iowa. Almost 15 rush yards per game. The worst passing offense in the entire Big Ten belongs to Iowa. They rank 18th in the Big Ten Conference. Scoring offense, they're averaging 29 points per game. Had they done this last year, Baby Ferentz would still be here. Nebraska's averaging 25 points per game. Nebraska has the 6th best rush defense in the conference, allowing 110 rush yards per game. Red zone offense, Iowa's 3rd in the conference. Nebraska's 16th. When it comes to penalties and penalty yards, Iowa is 1st in the Big Ten in penalty yards, 1st in the nation in penalties, and 1st in the Big Ten, obviously, in penalties as well. They don't beat themselves. All right, turnovers gained. 1st in the Big Ten is Iowa at plus 22, and turnover margin 1st in the Big Ten is Iowa as well. All right, Dana Holgorsen, just a smidge more about our offensive coordinator. His 6 seasons as an FBS offensive coordinator, Dana Holgorsen's offenses have ranked in the top 6 nationally in total offense all 6 of those years, in the top 3 in passing offense every year, and in the top 13 in scoring each season as well. Holgorsen's offenses average rankings in those 6 seasons as an FBS OC offensive coordinator are 2nd in passing offense, 3rd in total offense, and 6th in scoring offense. All right, keys to the game. Here are my 3 keys to the game. Ladies and gentlemen, Nebraska has to play with the same veracity, sense of urgency, physicality, and if you're Dylan Raiola, the same decisiveness as they did versus Wisconsin. Basically, the number 1 most important key, bar none, even more important than stopping the run, in my opinion, as important as that is, are they going to play the same way they did last week versus Wisconsin? Number 1. Number 2, stop the run. Iowa's quarterback situation is one of the weirdest situations I've seen in the entire country. Their starter gets benched. Their backup comes in. He plays well. He gets hurt, but the starter's available, but they won't play him. So they're going to a 3rd-string walk-on quarterback who's only thrown 20 passes in his entire college career. This is only his 2nd start. He's thrown for a whopping career of 76 passing yards. All right, I still can't even believe it. with all due respect to him, but they're playing him over Cade McNamara. That's such a weird situation against Maryland. His name is Jackson Stratton, and he averaged just over 5 yards per pass attempt, and the Hawkeyes as a team averaged just over 4 yards per play, but they ran the ball 57 times for just under 300 yards rushing last week versus the Terrapins. My third key to the game is the little things, ladies and gentlemen. Iowa will not beat themselves. While they're first in the Big Ten in penalties, we're 15th. While they're first in the Big Ten in turnover margin, during Nebraska's 4-game losing streak, we were -7. Okay, in the turnover margin against Wisconsin, we were back in the plus column, +1 versus the Badgers. Our special teams are much improved. Has Ed Foley done enough to keep his job? Shout out to Ed Foley. Our special teams is doing a much better job. Can they continue to play well versus Iowa, who's really good on special teams? Here's the deal. Iowa runs the ball. They play good defense, and they won't beat themselves. Will Nebraska come out the same way they did against Wisconsin, stop the run, and continue to get better at the little things? Unequivocally, these are the 3 keys to the game. Now, real quick, I want to give a shout out to everybody who supports this show. If you don't know, this show has actually gone on Sports Illustrated's website for 2 years now. It's been on the ticket here in Lincoln for 2 years, and several other outlets pick it up, frankly, pay me so they can use it, but it's kind of cool. I got an email. I get emails quite frequently from folks like, hey, did you see this? I saw you there. And I printed this out, and then I proceeded to write notes on it. Basically, another outlet, picked up my Sunday show, quoted me, was doing things like that. So that's always pretty cool when people send me things like that. So I just want to say thank you for those who support this show. It's amazing. This show started with a Facebook rant 10 years ago after Bo Pelini got fired. I didn't even use paragraphs or spell check, ladies and gentlemen. Here's some interesting things, ladies and gentlemen. There's no way that Dana Holgerson's air raid offense can work at Nebraska, right? Check out that picture. Next up, the Huskers' 473 total yards were the most the Wisconsin Badgers had allowed in a regular season loss since 2019 versus Illinois. That's half a decade. John Hull started his career 1-2 versus Illinois, 0-3 on his field goal kicks versus Purdue. He's now made 8 of his last 8 field goal attempts. Shout out to him. Okay, since Dana Holgerson arrived as OC in Nebraska, one player who put his foot on the gas and accelerated is tight end Luke Lindenmeyer. Coach Matt Rule says he's a player who's shown the ability in practice to execute and turned it into increasing playtime and contribution. Shout out to him. Nebraska head coach Matt Rule says that Zaire Wright was one of the Huskers most impacted by sickness Saturday against Wisconsin. A bunch of the team had like the flu. Basically, he's feeling better, and Matt Rule says, I think we're much healthier this week as well. I'm sure you've heard, but Malachi Coleman is entering the transfer portal. He was the #1 player in the state of Nebraska, top 100 player in the country. My quick thoughts are this. Number 1, root for the guy. How can you root against a guy who donates all of his NIL money to foster care because that affects him on a personal level? How do you not root for him? How do you not love a guy like that? I wish him nothing but the best. I will say this. Man, if Dana Holgerson's back next year, you got Holgerson as your OC. He wants to throw the ball. You got Dylan Raiola as your quarterback. Holgerson's probably going to put 2 and 3 wide receivers on the field. Our 2 starting wide receivers are gone. Man, the potential of Malachi Coleman and Ja'Cory Barney and Jalen Lloyd and whoever else steps up. Hey, but I wish him the best. Sometimes it just is what it is. Matt Rule says offensive line coach Donovan Raiola called his brief interaction with a Luke Fickell security guard, and I quote, no big deal, end quote. Officer grabbed Raiola's arm after some of the verbal chat between Raiola and Fickell. I saw the footage. It was really weird. Really weird. I don't know how else to put it. Shout out to Amir Abdullah, who is enjoying his 10th season in the NFL and apparently his 10th season of being a ninja as well. Troy Dannon. Shout out to Troy, but also Nebraska's bowling team. They just took down the #1 rated team in the country, the defending national champion, the Gamecocks. Now, it should be noted, ladies and gentlemen, Nebraska's bowling team is the premier bowling team in America, okay, when it comes to college sports. 11 national titles, 4 runner-up finishes, the only program to qualify for every NCAA bowling championship since they started that. All right, 11 times they've had the National Bowler of the Year winner, and 80 times they've had a person receive All-America honors. Shout out to Nebraska Volleyball and the volleyball players that were drafted. #1 overall, Merritt Beeson was the first overall pick in the Pro Volleyball Draft. With the 15th pick in the 2024 Pro Volleyball Draft, the Omaha Supernovas select Ali Battenhorst from USC and Nebraska. Maybe the most popular transfer ever in the history of Husker sports. Shout out to Ali Battenhorst. Going to see her in Omaha very soon. With the 19th pick in the 2024 Pro Volleyball Draft, all right, the Omaha Supernovas select Lindsay Krause. Shout out to her. And with the 26th pick in the Pro Volleyball Draft, all right, Layla Blackwell is drafted as well. Shout out to her. Also, shout out to Nebraska women's basketball, even with some recent injuries and a loss, they're still ranked 25th in the country. Nebraska men's basketball received 21 points in this week's AP Top 25 poll. That puts them about the equivalent of 35th in the nation. All right, this is one of the coolest stories in all of sports. Hansel Emanuel is the best story in sports according to this post, but at the age of 6, Austin Peay Junior college basketball guard Hansel Emanuel lost his left arm when a cinder block wall came down on him in the Dominican Republic and trapped him for 2 hours, requiring amputation below the shoulder. On Sunday at Tennessee, Emanuel had 5 points, 2 blocks, 1 steal versus the 11th ranked Vols. Phenomenal story. Weird transition. Connor Stallions was coaching the #1 recruit in the entire country. All right, Bryce Underwood. He got a $10.5 million NIL offer to switch from LSU to Michigan. Are we connecting dots here? All right, and now Bryce Underwood is going to Michigan. The flip. Connor Stallions strikes again. I just thought this was funny. The Florida football team took Ole Miss's basketball hoop. Why does Ole Miss have a basketball hoop? Is this turnover chain related type deal? Put a Gator logo on it and then started taking turns dunking after they beat them 24-17. I just thought that was awesome. All right, and Kansas. Kansas is like the Big 12's worst nightmare. Kansas was 2-6. And their last 3 opponents, they took down undefeated Iowa State. Big 12 doesn't like that. They took down undefeated BYU, and then they took down Colorado. They had basically destroyed anybody giving a crap about who wins the Big 12 and gets into the college football playoff. So thank you for that, Kansas. All right, speaking of things that I want nothing to do with, sitting at this table, I'm good. Thank you. Talking about Indiana and Ohio State. Chris Signetti's done a great job, but I did a roster dive. All right, Indiana had 10 4- and 5-star players. Ohio State had 69 of them. Wow. This is not far-fetched, by the way, either. Oregon could win the Big Ten. Texas could win the SEC. SMU could win the ACC. Colorado could still win the Big 12, but Arizona State's actually in control of the destiny in the Big 12 now. You know, a former Pac-10, Pac-12 team. And Army could still win the AAC. None of these teams were in those conferences last year. And the weather, the frickin' weather. I can't wait for those Southern Belle pretty boys, with all due respect to the teams of the SEC, to come up north and play in some football games. Ohio State is currently 32 degrees and snowing at the moment. Penn State, 35 degrees and raining. Indiana, 32 degrees and raining. Although Indiana probably won't host a playoff game. Notre Dame, 31 degrees and snowing. 3 of those 4 teams are projected right now to host first-round playoff games versus Southern teams, I might add. Oh, and this last picture, it's just a life picture. I'm just gonna, you take it in. Sometimes you just got to have fun with life. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, DPS Concrete Construction. They're your local concrete experts in all things concrete. Retaining wall, there is nobody better than Jason Armstrong, DPS Concrete Construction. Check them out at dpsconstruction.net. Also, bonzelpool.com. They put in my family's pool. They put in my family's hot tub. If you want a sauna, they can put that in. If you have pools, hot tubs, saunas, and you need them taken care of, they're the folks. If you need them put in, go to bonzelpool.com. Ask for Jeff and tell him Adam sent you. Bring on those 5 guests. And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. And this is a first ever on the Carriker Chronicles. Now, each and every one of these beautiful children who, thank God, look like their mom, have been on this show multiple times, but never all at once. Wish me luck. Here we go. All right. Young lady, what is your name?
Addison.
How old are you?
13.
What grade are you in?
8th.
All right. What's your favorite sport?
Track or volleyball.
Why do you look like you're scared? All right. Cornhead, what's your name?
Awesomeness.
Awesomeness. All right. What's your given name, your born name?
I guess it's Trinity.
What's your favorite sports?
Soccer.
Anything else?
Basketball.
I'm going to brag on her. Hold on, where? She has qualified for nationals in track in the 8th grade division as a 6th and 7th grader. She's an 8th grader now. She just got invited to an All-American thing for soccer. And so this is a whole lot of fun. Who is my next victim? The oldest twin by 6 whole minutes, Dakota. What's your name, Coda Bear?
Dakota.
I just said it. What's your favorite sports?
Baseball, basketball, and soccer.
She likes to kick boy butt on the baseball diamond. And who's your favorite teams?
Broncos and Nebraska.
Yeah, that's right. All right, Desiree. Even though you're the younger sister, do you kick your older sister's rear?
Yes.
All right, what's your name? I keep saying their names.
Desiree.
All right, what grade are you?
3rd.
So they're 9. All right, she's 12. Back there, 12. And Addie's in 8th grade, and she's 13. All right, what are your favorite sports? Desi?
Volleyball, basketball, and soccer.
Favorite teams?
Nebraska.
All right, I don't think there's anyone left. I think we covered everybody. Is there anybody left?
Yeah.
All right, what's your name?
Jordan.
How old are you?
7.
What grade are you in?
1st grade.
And what are your favorite sports?
Basketball, volleyball, baseball, softball, soccer.
And she plays them all, ladies and gentlemen. I'm eclectic, multi-sport family. All right. Should we do some sports predictions for a bunch of Nebraska sports and teams this weekend? How's that sound?
Yes.
All right. Addison, what's your prediction? Nebraska-Iowa football. What's your score prediction?
I think Nebraska wins 21-17.
All right. Trinity.
17-14. Us.
Yeah. Dakota. I know what's coming.
30-25.
Iowa 30-25. We have a traitor in the house, ladies and gentlemen.
Iowa State people.
Can't get them all right. All right, Desi, what's your score prediction?
20-7.
All right, and Jordan?
44-39.
Oh, who do you have winning, Jordan? 44-39.
Iowa.
Two of you.
Okay, never
All right,
mind Nebraska.
2 less kids to get gifts for this
Never mind
Christmas.
Nebraska.
My wife's right behind the camera.
Never mind
Who'd you have
Nebraska.
winning?
Nebraska.
Nebraska. Okay. Everybody gets presents but Dakota. All right, next up, number 2, Nebraska Volleyball takes on number 4, Penn State. Addison, who you got?
I think it's going to be a close game, but I think Nebraska wins.
All right, Trinity, who you got?
Nebraska all the way, people.
All right, Dakota, who you got?
Nebraska, 1 point.
All right, Desi, who you got?
Nebraska.
Jordy, who you got?
Who's better?
Why don't you just take Penn State? Everybody else took Nebraska.
Okay, Penn State.
All right, I'm taking Nebraska. All right, Nebraska bowling, number 5 in the country right now, just beat number 1 and defending national champion, the Gamecocks. This is the question, a little bit different. Will Nebraska bowling, they have 11 national championships. Will they win their 12th national championship? It's really hard to do this year. Addie?
Yeah.
Trinity? No? Awesomeness says no. All right, we're going to go out of order now. Jordan?
Yes.
All right, Desi?
Yes.
All right, Iowa fan?
Yes.
All right, next up, we have got men's and women's basketball all lumped together. Admittedly, these next 4 opponents are not the stiffest on earth, but they do eventually in a couple weeks play Michigan State and Minnesota, get into Big Ten play. But men's basketball is going to take on South Dakota and North Florida before they play Michigan State. Number 25 and still ranked women's basketball, Nebraska women's basketball plays Kansas City and Lindenwood. So we're actually recording this on Monday. We're actually at the Kansas City game right now. The Twins basketball team. I'm pointing to the wrong direction here. The Twins basketball team, and I'm helping coach. Hopefully we're watching Nebraska kick some Kansas City butt tonight before they start playing Minnesota and Big Ten teams in a couple weeks. My question for you girls is, do men's and women's basketball in those 4 games, do they go 4-0, 3-1, 2-2, 1-0, or 1-3, or 0-4? What do you think, Addie?
I think 4-0.
All right. What do you think, Jordy?
4-0.
What do you think, Awesomeness?
3-1.
All right. What do you think, Coda Bear?
3-0.
That's only 3 games. 3-1. 3-1, 4-0. What do you think? There's 4 games. You said 3-0.
3-1.
Wow, that was quite the pause. All right, Des, what do you got?
4-0.
All right, last one. Who here plays soccer? Addie, I tried to get you to do it when you were little. That's all right. Nebraska women's soccer a year ago was this close to going to the Final Four. Lost to Stanford in double overtime. I believe it was a 2-1 thriller. Stanford ended up playing for the national championship. Their season's over for this year, but my question, Nebraska women's soccer, will they make the Final Four next year? Dakota, you go first. Yes or no?
Yes.
Desi.
Yes.
Addison.
Yeah.
Jordy.
Yes.
Trinity.
Without a doubt. It's just gonna happen.
So soccer is absolutely Trinity's number 1 favorite sport. All right, I gotta know who, when we're playing card games as a family, out of you 5 girls, who usually wins?
My hand was up first. No, you cheat.
We should give a shout out to Brother Jacob. She helped with the Nebraska football and Iowa football score predictions. So shout out to Brother Jacob.
Here, but he's at the house with our dogs, Rocky and Sky. And Rocky's 2 and Sky's 1.
All right, you learned a little bit more about the family. All right, anybody else got anything to say? What do you got?
Go Nebraska.
All right, Coda Bear.
If you're a Bronco fan, go.
All right, one more. Jordan, what you got?
Cheer for every animal team.
Trinity, awesomeness.
Always remember to throw the ball.
Yeah.
And win.
All right, until next time, Husker Nation. Ooh, I got some questions for you fine folks at home, actually. Oh, my score prediction. I almost forgot. My score prediction for Iowa, Nebraska, the football game is Iowa 20. Pause for effect. Nebraska 23. And much to my own surprise, I'm taking the over because the over-under is 39. You never take the over in Iowa, Nebraska. So what the heck am I thinking? But I'm taking the over. Also, real quick, got some questions for you fine folks at home. But before I do, make sure you check out the website, CarrikerChronicles.com. It's where all your Husker sports hopes and dreams will come true. It's just science, ladies and gentlemen. Nominate your fans of the week there. Check out the recent winners. Every week we post game photos after the Nebraska football games, and men's and women's basketball and volleyball press conferences are going to be on the site as well. Here are my questions for you fine folks at home. Let me know your answer in the comments below. Number 1, what's the biggest key to the good guys beating the other guys? Nebraska beating Iowa. Number 2, what's your score prediction for Nebraska versus Iowa? Number 3, do you get a kick out of the fact that some of these southern teams are going to have to come up north and play in these college football playoff games like I do? Just let me know yes or no. Until next time, go Big Red. And always remember...